right, welcome everyone. Welcome to this special presentation on Become a Swing Trading Wizard. My name is Steve Chappell, the Director of Trading Systems Development here at VectorVest. And do I have a trading system for you? Let's jump in and take a look. You know what they say, proof is in the pudding. And here is a snapshot of our portfolio performance for only the bull side of the portfolio from April the 4th until now. The best part about this data is it's real-time data. It's not back-tested. 29.5% in just over 6 months' time, with very little drawdown along the way. If you're willing or interested in the short side, we were doing so well, we says, well, I wonder if the same methodology would work on the short side of the market. And sure enough, it has. The proof is in the pudding once again. The last 3 campaigns each have been profitable, and we are currently in a campaign. You can see the stocks even listed at the bottom that are still in the portfolio at this time. So just since July 27th, there have been 3 short campaigns since July 27th, and 12.5% would be added to the kitty if you're willing to go both long and short in the stock market. So how did we do it, right? If I were you, I would certainly want to know. So let's take a peek. As we've said many times, your system ultimately determines your success. And so we have 3 cornerstones for this trading methodology for the swing trader. 1, when to buy. When do I start initiating my bullish swing trades, or even bearish, as we'll see in a bit? What do I buy? Another key ingredient. I want to get the best stocks most appropriate for the swing trade. And finally, when do I sell them? Because that's where the money is. And so ultimately what we want to know is how to solve for each of these 3 key cornerstones. For when to buy, we're going to lean on the primary wave. When we think about swing trading by definition is several days to several weeks. The most appropriate timing model would then be the primary wave. And so this gives us the best opportunity to get in and out effectively. On the what to buy, we are going to lean on what I feel truly is one of the most powerful tools VectorVest has ever developed, and I do mean ever, and that is the VectorVest Derby. We're not going to lean on just today's top performer, or even the top performer over just the last 5 days. We're going to use the entire 66 days of Derby calendar to come up with the most consistent performer. And then finally, how do we manage them effectively? Ideally, we want to cut losers short and let winners run. So we're going to use the profit locker, and we've got some unique percentages that we've been using for this portfolio. We're also going to close the entire basket when a primary down wave comes into play. So whatever 10 stocks are left at the end of that campaign will be closed the day or the morning after a primary wave is produced. So let's dig a little deeper, break each one down individually. On the when to buy, what market timing signal to employ, we've already stated the primary wave as our timing signal. And so let's take a look at why that is best suited for a swing trader right inside of VectorVest. I'm going to move right into the platform, and I'm going to go to the timing tab and then the market timing graph. So here we have our market timing graph. I'm just going to dial into the most recent 3 months so we get a nice clean picture and you can see some of the finer detail. Now that we've done that, I'll come down here to the bottom, switch it from confirm call to primary wave. We'll notice that the last up signal came in on August 17th and took us all the way up to just after the peak, where we could have stopped, closed our long positions, and potentially gone short if willing the following day, September the 4th. So on the 5th, we could have initiated that morning the inception of a bearish campaign on the stock market. And so just a quick reminder on the primary wave and how they're generated. We're looking at the closing price today on the day of the signal to where it was 5 days prior. And so the primary wave switches to up the first day that we close higher on a week over week basis. And then just the opposite further down. The first time after the up that we close lower on a week over week basis or a 5-day trading period, it switches to down. The one thing to note is that these signals get in very near the bottom and out very near the top, and they do so on even the smaller waves within the larger waves or moves of the stock market. That gives us the opportunity to really maximize quantity of trades here as well. If I jump back and look at a little bit more data, you're going to have times where the stock market is going to rally for several weeks in a primary up call when things are going really good and the stock market is cooking. You're also going to have times where the stock market will be down or bearish for several weeks and take advantage of good short positions at that time. So this is the timing model that we're going to employ. And we do realize that on occasion, we're going to have to be pretty nimble and switch from long to short to long again in succession. It will happen, and we'll do that because we know when we get to the other side of that market capitulation, it's going to start rolling again one way or the other. So that's why I use the primary wave for the swing trading approach. In terms of the what do I buy, we're going to lean on the consistent derby performer. So not just what strategy is up at the top of the list today necessarily, although I have seen that there can be some correlation in how we pick our strategy and what tends to be towards the top. But we're going to lean on all of the historical data. So we're going to use both the vary the start date and sliding window modes in the derby, but look at the entire 3 months of rolling data available in the derby calendar. Because we're going to be analyzing 2 data sets, I do suggest that you print each of the data sets out because we're going to look to find the search that finishes nearest the top of both lists. If it finishes in first position on both lists, it'll have a total score of 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. If it finishes 1 on one list, in second position on another, 1 plus 2 is 3. And the search with the lowest score will be the search that we choose for any future primary wave up or down campaign. But we'll only use bullish searches for bullish campaigns and bearish searches for bearish campaigns. So let's jump into VectorVest and take a look. So I'm going to close this out of the market timing graph and move us right over to the derby. So here's a look at today's derby. And there's some incredible information right here. You can see what searches are in favor and doing the best right now as we speak at 2:06 Eastern Time in the stock market. What we're going to do, however, is lean on all of the history available in the derby that we have at our disposal. So the way to do that is I'm going to switch it from today's derby, which shows us the best strategies and the stocks in them right now, to which have been the best performers over the last 66 days. And so I changed the analysis mode first to vary the start date. In vary the start date, please note it's already preset here, but I did take the top start date calendar all the way back to, in this case, June 6th. That produces the 66 days of data that we're going to analyze. Now, there may be some occasions where there's a holiday or something and that number can change, but 66 is the typical number that you'll see. Once I've done that, now the strategy that's at the top of the list, Marijuana Magic, is there for a different reason. It's not simply the top performer today, it's the top performer if you bought it on any day in the past and held it for 66 calendar days, or 65, or 64, or 63. So let me show you the runs. There's a lot of data here. 6.6 to 9.7. 10 stock basket produced 7 out of 10 stocks made money on percent winners. 24% gain, 93 annualized. Pretty decent drawdown, but I'll take that for 93 annualized. And you produce an efficiency factor here as well. What's most important here is not so much all the data that's inside. Just wanted to open your eyes to what is here. What's most important is simply where the strategies finish. And so I want to just emphatically point out that when we say here some of your top strategies in the platform right now are at the top, there's a lot of data giving you that information. 66 runs for each one. That's a lot of quick tests you'd have to try to do by hand on every search in the platform. You've got Marijuana Magic, Marijuana Stocks, Seattle Bear Beater, which has been a strategy that we have used almost entirely in that performance number that I showed earlier for the 29.5%. There was only one occasion where a different search beat Seattle Bear Beater out, and it was Show Me the Money Long, and it was a long while ago. I think it was the very first one we used. Since then, we've been using Seattle Bear Beater, and so it's just being recently overtaken now by some marijuana stock searches. But it's still holding very strong towards the top of the list, and still one of the better derby performers during the day today, early in the session, till the market soured again. So all of this to say, it's pointing us towards great solutions. Think about how hot marijuana stocks have been. Think about what type of market we're in. We're in the late stages of a bull market where bear market beater searches like a Seattle Bear Beater tend to work the best. And so the derby is always pointing you the right direction if you just know how to wield the instrument. So terrific information in here, and I wanted to try to give you as best flavor for it as I could before we move on to the next one. So within each of these bars are 66 runs worth of data indicating that, marijuana stocks, Marijuana Magic, those are two of your better solutions. In fact, Marijuana Magic far and away the best, because on average for the 66 runs, it's produced 26.5% on average. Now, that has a bias to it because over the last 66 days, the stock market has gone up. And so I says, well, we need to cross-reference that data with something that gives us a little bit more security and peace of mind if the stock market doesn't perform as well as we expect. And so that's where the sliding window comes in. The sliding window, you see, takes the number of hold days that you specify and slides that holding period through the data. So you're always starting and finishing on a different 5-day data set. So some of that data, the stock market will be going up. Some of the data, the stock market will be going down. And on other 5-day sets, the stock market will be flat or fairly flat. And so these are going to be the strategies produced at the top of this list that have also held up well no matter what the market threw at them. And so what this suggests here again is, look at there, right at the top, Seattle Bear Beaters. And so if I click on this bar, you can see the first test was 6.6 to 6.12, then 6.7 to 6.13, 6.8 to 6.14. So we're sliding that 5-day window, 1 week trading window, forward through the 66-day data set. What it says here then is that Seattle Bear Beater on average produced 1.65% on any given week, no matter whether the market was going up or going down or sideways. So now what we want to do is find the strategy that is the highest on both lists. That way we have a little bit of quarterly market bias, and we also have a little bit of persistent search baked into the same solution, so that even if the market doesn't perform as well as expected, we're going to be in good shape. So when we look at this list, Marijuana Magic is in third position. Now remember, it was in first position on the other one. So just as a reminder, I'll slide back. That's why I suggest printing these lists out, because on occasion, you're going to have to dig down through to find out which one's the highest towards the top of both lists simultaneously. So I will switch us back to the start date, point out that Marijuana Magic is indeed the top one there. So that gets a value of 1. Marijuana stocks would be a value of 2. Seattle Bear Beaters a value of 3, so on, etc. So when I take the 1 of Marijuana Magic and add it to the 3, 1 plus 3 is 4. Now the interesting phenomenon here, and something we haven't seen yet, and hopefully we won't see when the signal is generated, is Seattle Bear Beater here is 1, and if we go back to the start date, is 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. So they're equivalent. In that case, in that event, we'll have to create a new rule. And my rule at this point will be use your head. But when I say that, Seattle Bear Beaters has been a terrific strategy. It's got more diversification because it's not focused on one single sector of the market. And it's been working really well, over the last several turns. The other thing I would say is I would simply go with the sliding window. These are going to be the ones that are going to be a little bit more on the robust side, taking out the upward bias of the market. So when in doubt, when we have a tie, we're going to lean towards the solution here on the 5-day slide. So should we have, which we won't, but should we have a primary wave up to finish the day today, we would roll with Seattle Bear Beaters. It's been our best search. It's produced most of the 29.5% gain, and it's the best 5-day slide. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move back into the PowerPoint for a sec. And we'll talk about how to manage them, because that's where the money is. It's great to be able to know when to buy and what stocks to get into, but then you got to realize some profits, right? So when to sell becomes critically important. We want to be able to cut losers quick, so we're going to use a profit locker to manage our trades. We're going to use a target percentage of 21 gain, and at the same time, a stop loss, initial stop loss of 7%. Remember, the profit locker is a ratcheting stop. So I have seen only one instance where we've taken a full loss on a trade so far. A lot of times we're somewhere in between. And fortunately, I've got a trade history to show you. So let's go and take a quick peek. So here we are. I'm going to go into the portfolio section. And as I mentioned, this has been rocking and rolling right here in my portfolios tab since April the 4th. When we look down at the data here, I'm simply going to point out I've got both the bullish and bearish campaigns. Here's the same curve, same result. We're currently in cash. But I can show you some of the reports and show you some of the history. So I'm going to click on reports and go to the summary report first. First thing to note here is that we have had 185 trades in total. And so trade number is a consideration here. There's going to be some trading when we move ourselves towards a swing trading system. Having said that, nearly 50% of the trades have been successful, and swing traders realize that if you have effective stop loss management, 40% can get you home to grandma's house. So doing really well on the overall winning trade number. Our best trade was been Kronos, one of those marijuana stocks, at $5,500. Our worst trade has been Tailored Brands at minus $2,600. So you have a 2-to-1 ratio from best to worst trades. You'll also notice the commissions here. So going with someone like an Interactive Brokers may have some good impact when we're a little bit more on the active side. This was on the $4.95 trade commission. Now, when I close this and move to, I think, a more enlightening report, this is our trade history. When we just take a quick peek at the trade history, here you can see we started out on April 5th when we initiated the first campaign. All of those positions were closed, in fact, on 4/9. We didn't really have any additional trades from Profit Locker, and we started out on a little bit of a rough patch. But then we kicked in, and I want you to notice, just watch the green and the numbers on the green and the red and the numbers on the red. So we're starting to see more green, and we're starting to see higher percentages, like a 10% gain here where it was a 1% loss on the trade before. And as we continue to roll down through the data, here's an 11, worst case scenario -6. Here's a 7, 7, 10, 6, 13, 9. Let's keep rolling down here. Our worst loser in this bunch was -1. 2, 4, 3. Piling up the winners on that segment. Ooh, this one gapped against us. That would be the tailored brands there at 25%. So the outlier, if you will. But right back to back, we had a 33, a 16, a 16, 6s and 7s. And, you know, the hits just keep on rolling in. Here was a couple of really good ones, 42 and 26. String of little losers, but we kept them small. And that's the real solution here is we're putting ourselves in a position with the stocks that we're buying to make some money, and we're also managing them effectively with the Profit Locker. Okay? And so all of that activity then has produced the resulting curve. Tremendous performance here. Really super excited about it. And of course, we have the bearish side here as well. And you can see we're up 12.91%, so it's improved even since the PowerPoint slide that I just showed you. I'm getting closer to 13%. If I click on the reports here in the trade history, I'll slide this over. Stacking up the big winners in here as well, 18% on a recent trade. And there's going to be some losers in there also, but look at that, 18, 19, 11, 7, 7, 7, 7. Lots of the winners are far outweighing the losers. Here's a 15%. The worst loss in this segment, 4.5. So the winners are really performing a lot better than the losers when we cut them early. And so that's the whole key. That's a huge key. But it all begins with when to buy and what to buy. That's just the final piece. But I did want to share that with you because it is really, really solid data. And there's a lot of trades for us to say, hey, look, we've come across something here that we cannot help but share with you. Okay? So let me move back into the presentation here real quick. What I want to do here next is just simply say a couple of things. One, we are going to be detailing this trading system in the Jockey Club. It's part of the real-time Derby subscription. We're going to be detailing this trading system every single day for those of you that might be interested in that. Also, for any person who owns the Derby currently or anyone who decides to take out a trial subscription to the Derby, we're also going to provide the click-by-click, and I mean click-by-click directions on how to do the trading system that I just detailed for you guys. So that is going to be awesome. And not only that, we've also been already getting our Jockey Club members up to speed on the trading system, and some of them are already doing it and doing well, which is terrific. So we want to give everyone an opportunity to jump on board and do it for themselves. And so we're going to offer a 30-day trial subscription to VectorVest Real-Time because it runs only, or VectorVest Derby rather, because it runs only on real-time service. We're going to give you the free upgrade to real-time to try it out, and it's all going to be for just $29. So this is going to give you the ability, if you'd like, to monitor the performance of this for the next 30 days for just less than $1 a day. It's also going to give you access to us, the instructors, and watch us perform and do the trading system every single day for the next month for less than $1 a day. I suggest you do it. I suggest you go to www.vectorvest.com/tryderby to get yourself signed up. And there'll also be a link included in VectorVest Views, right in VectorVest 7 in the Views tab in the strategy section, you'll see a place there where you can click for the Derby trial there as well. All you need is a trial to the Derby if you don't have one already. Then you're going to receive the step-by-step, click-by-click directions. We're going to send an email out next week to all Derby subscribers. We're also in the Jockey Club, which is our trading room that we do every single morning before the bell from 9 a.m. to 11:30. We are going to be detailing this trading system every single day and going through what motions we need to do for every session. Most days, you're just letting VectorVest Genius do the job and just clicking accept to all the trades. But in the event that we have a primary wave change, we are going to be walking everyone through. We're going to close these positions and we're going to be opening these positions because it's the top performer from the Derby for the past 66 days. All right, guys, so that's it. I hope you're as excited about it as I am. I truly cannot wait for next week. We're going to turn this guy loose, and we're going to do so on a real trading account, and it's going to be awesome. I'll see you there. I'll see you in the Jockey Club next week. See you then. I can't wait to see all of you. Bye now.